name is Will Parker. I'm with the Biloxi Fire Department. Today we will be talking about bleeding control at the EMT level. Tonight we're going to be going over using direct pressure to stop a bleed, and we'll be going over using a tourniquet to stop a bleed. So how much blood is in the human body? The average adult male has got 5.5 liters or 1.5 gallons in him. The average adult female has got 4.5 liters or 1.1 gallons in them. Studies show that you can lose about 14% of your blood before you start to see significant side effects from that. For the average man, that'd be about 1.5 bottles of water. So there's 4 different classes of blood loss related to the volume. So class 1 would be 15%, class 2 would be 15 to 30%, class 3 would be 1,500 to 2,000 milliliters, which is, think of a 2 liter of Mountain Dew, that's a lot. And class 4 would be over 40% of your blood, which is getting close to half a gallon. All right, so there's 4 different types of bleeding. You have arterial bleeding. It's going to be very bright red blood. Whenever your heart beats, it's going to squirt out in rhythm with it. And then you have venous bleeding. It's going to be dark red. It's going to ooze. It'll be like you got yourself cutting an onion in the kitchen. Capillary bleed is the next type. That's like a paper cut, something that's easy to stop. So, relatively bright red blood, and you can just put a Band-Aid on it. Then you have internal bleeding. We're not going to be going over that tonight, but it's another thing you need to be aware of. What you need to recognize with it to treat it properly. All right, so coagulation is what your body does to stop a bleed on its own. So whenever your body recognizes that it's bleeding, all your red blood cells come together and all the platelets, they go into this one area and they turn to almost like a gel, and they start to clog up the hole in you, essentially. Your blood vessels will also constrict and get to a smaller size and help restrict the blood flow like that. One thing you should know, if you have a patient that is on blood thinners or is a regular alcoholic, they don't coagulate as well as a normal human. They're going to take a lot longer for that coagulation to start, if it starts at all. So keep that in mind whenever you're on these calls. Things to remember: is your scene safe? What caused this cut or this bleed? Was it pit bull? Was it a madman with a knife? Were they sharpening their lawnmower blades and there's an angle grinder running there? Just something to think about. The mechanism of injury. Are they in a car wreck? Did their leg get cut off by a bush hog? Is the bush hog still running? Could it hurt you if you got you? And then you have your ABCs. Your ABCs are your airway, breathing, and circulation. And those are going to be your most important things to check. It doesn't matter how good you are at stopping the bleed or the blood coming out of your patient. If they aren't breathing, then it won't do a thing for them. You just need to think about whether you need additional resources, an advanced unit, or just more help, more hands. You need to remember that you can always just load your patient up and go to the hospital as fast as possible, or if it's just a minor cut, you can just bandage it and determine if you need to go later. BSI is my scene safe. This is going to be one of your biggest concerns regarding your personal safety on these calls, because there are a lot of bloodborne pathogens and diseases that you could come in contact with throughout these calls. Gloves are a big one. Always wear your gloves. And if it's an arterial bleed or there's just a lot of blood, you might even want to look into wearing eyeglasses to keep it out of your eyeballs. So the first thing you're going to do whenever you come up to your patient, you're going to assess the bleed, and you're going to take a dry, sterile dressing like a 4x4 or an ABD pad. You're going to apply that with direct pressure right onto the wound. And if that stops, good. You can bandage it up. If it doesn't, you might need to consider going to a more drastic measure. So you move that. All right. So a pressure bandage would be like a Israeli bandage, or just like a stretchy adhesive bandage that will squeeze in on its own whenever you wrap it around it. What you would do, you would come up to it, you would put your dressing on it, then you would wrap it around that and you would just tape it off, and it would hold pressure on its own. If that works, great, you don't need to go to a tourniquet. Now, a tourniquet is going to be your most drastic option. This is a tourniquet, this is a Cat 7 tourniquet right here. Things to know about tourniquets is they are extremely painful for your patient. It's going to be very uncomfortable for them, but it's going to possibly save their life. So what you're going to do, first you're going to assess the wound. After you apply pressure, determine it's not going to stop. You need a tourniquet. You're going to want to put it 2 to 3 inches above the wound if you can. You never want to go onto a joint either. If you put it around someone's elbow or on their knee, it's not going to compress the artery properly. It's not going to stop the bleeding. So when in doubt, if you don't know where the bleed is, just put it as high as you can on that joint. So say they got shot in this area, but you can't really see it under all the clothes or something, just put it up high and stop it immediately, as fast as possible. So then we're going to, once you have your tourniquet on and around the person's limb that's injured, you're going to pull all the slack out of it, and you're going to take your windlass. This is the windlass right here. And you're just going to start cranking it down, just twisting and twisting and twisting it until the bleeding stops and you do not feel a pulse beneath distal to the wound anymore. Once you've done that, you're going to need to mark that with a Sharpie or something, what time you put that on. So that way, whenever they get to the emergency room, they know that this tourniquet's been applied for 8 minutes or 30 minutes. All right. Does anybody have any questions at this time?
Yes. When applying a tourniquet, is it safe to keep it on? Can you take it off if the patient stops bleeding?
I would not take it off if the patient stops bleeding, because the thing that stopped the bleeding was the tourniquet. I wouldn't take it off until you have a doctor and you're there in the emergency room.
Also, you said an ABD pad, correct? What is that?
So this is an ABD pad here. It's an 8x10 sterile dressing. It's just a large 4x4 essentially. It'll absorb a lot of blood.
When doing a tourniquet, you need to possibly, I've heard of this, I don't know if it's fact or not, do you write the time and date and all that when
Yes.
you apply a tourniquet?
Yes, as soon as you get it done and then stopped, you will write it down on there for the doctor.
In transit for long travel periods of time while wearing a tourniquet, do you sometimes loosen the tourniquet to allow a little bit of circulation through the joint?
I'm not 100% sure on that, but I will get back with you after I learn about that and let you know. All right, so in conclusion, everybody here should be able to stop a bleed with direct pressure or with a tourniquet. Does anybody else have a question?
I feel like you covered it pretty well. I learned a lot.
Okay, all right.
Appreciate your time.
Thank y'all for y'all's time. Hope y'all can use this information out in the field. And that will conclude it. That's terrible.